Good evening. It is nighttime. I hope you can hear the crickets. And there's the moon out. This is the Demon Story Part 2. Took place around the same time as my first story. And at the same place. Well, general area. I made it a habit to take walks, particularly at nighttime, so that I could think more clearly. As I was taking a walk, I didn't know that my oldest sister was also taking a walk. However, we were walking in separate directions. I was on the road. She was on the property. It was pitch black out. No moon, no stars, just pitch black. And the only way I could really see to walk was the one street light that was off in the distance. And I don't know how my sister was taking a walk. She just was. Anyways, as I was almost done taking a walk, I was at the driveway and something caught my eye. And I looked up at the sky and there was this red, blood red circle in the sky. It was bizarre because it was radiating red light, but not outside the circle, only within the circle. It looked like if you were to take a black construction paper and just take red paint and put a dot on it. It's just how bright it was, not radiating on the outside, just like this phenomenon. And the edges of it were kind of hazy and kind of moving barely, it seemed. And it stayed in the same location, kind of slightly away from our property, just like slightly over the next property, westward. And it was within the atmosphere, definitely not in outer space or on the firmament. And I stared at that thing for a long time until it started creeping away across the sky, like barely creeping away. It took a long time for it to actually disappear completely behind some distant trees. And I stood there and watched it until it disappeared. And I remember I even looked around a couple times while I was standing there and just blinked a few times to make sure this is real. And when it finally disappeared, I started walking back towards the house and I met up with my oldest sister and I was like, "Did you see that?" And she's like, "Yeah." And then we both just kind of never talked about it again until years later. Years later. We were already grown up and I was a young teenager when this happened. I was in my 20s when I tried to bring it up with her, and oddly enough, it seemed to frighten her when I brought it up to her the second time that she denied it. Maybe she was afraid of it. Maybe it was too frightening for her to even think about. But yeah, she was just like, "Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about." But the first time she saw it, me and her agreed it was there. So anyways, but I don't know what the point of that was, except just to I don't know. It was, from what I recall, it was on the same night that my family had a huge argument. It was kind of like, it got physical, pretty bad. It's very new for our family, like a new phase kind of entered into our family. It was crazy. Like, our family's never been the same. But I think that's true for a lot of people, like stuff like this. Something weird, something a little tricky happens, and the family starts going downhill. Like, that's the best way I can put it. But yeah, our family had a pretty big blowing out that night. All right, good night.